if you know anything about me, or you've watched any of our 460 something videos, you'll know that I end up being parallel with the ground on more than one occasion on our trips. So it is a necessity that I get bike protection. Fortunately, I've talked with Mark at Outback Motortek and they have hooked us up. We are going to protect the mess out of this bike with the entire protection kit from Outback Motortek. Skid plate, front protection, and lower crash bars and upper crash bars. Give me a second. I'm gonna take all the OEM stuff off first, and then we'll get to business.
Moto, photo adventures is on the road.
Okay, when you take this off, this right side off, be careful because there is a drain hose that is connected to this panel right here. So you need to disconnect that, but obviously remember to put it on when you put everything back. Oh yeah, these are super loose. Look at that. Thanks, Norden. These are basically finger tight under here. Did you skip lug nut day? 3 under there, 4 up here. Ta-da! Cool. What I didn't say in the intro before I started taking all the OEM parts off was that you are going to need a T30 Torx and a 10mm wrench to get all of that stuff off of there. The wrench is just to hold the nut still on the back of 2 of them. All of the hardware, skid plate, front plate, lower crash bars, then all the hardware for it with the bolts and the washers, and we added some Loctite. You're going to need a socket. Have an extension handy. You're going to need a 17mm socket. You're going to need an 8mm socket, a 10mm socket, a size 6 hex, and a size 5 hex to put everything back together. First step is to remove the large OEM bolts that are on each side and then replace them with the Outback Motortek bolts finger tight. So let's do that. So once you get the OEM bolt out, you put the Outback Motortek bolt in, but first we're going to put some Loctite on it. Now this is early in the stage to put Loctite on something because we haven't even gotten the other parts ready yet, but the way that Outback has manufactured and designed their bars, this needs to be in first before anything else. So don't forget to do that. And then put it in there basically finger tight. Just enough room so that we can get the bars on there in a minute. Do the other side real quick. Be right back. When I was going over the tools needed for this operation previously, I did not mention a 45 Torx. It's not to use for install, it's to use for removal on the bike itself. So just above the kickstand bolt is another bolt above the spring, and that is where the left side crash bar is going to sit in place. So we're going to take out the OEM screw first. So we take the left-hand side crash bar, we hook it into the notch at the top, and then we place the back side into the receiving hole, like that. Long bolt with a washer all the way through. And we're going to tighten that up, finger tight at the moment, so that we can work on the other side before we tighten everything completely. Leave everything loose. One other tip is to put this on a center stand or a paddock stand so the bike is perpendicular to the ground and so that all of these will fit together properly loosely. Then we can tighten everything up. If you put it on the side stand, the bike is over on the side. They recommend you don't install it that way. On this side, it's the same procedure. We have the bolt up here from Outback Motortek that is replacing the OEM. And then down here is another Torx 45 that we got to take out so that we can put it in the Outback Motortek one. That one's out. We grab the rack, slide it into place. Notice, by the way, this is where it slides over the top of that right there. See that? So we're going to do this. Slide it over the head of the Outback Motortek replacement bolt, and then put this in the slot here, just like that. Go ahead and put a little Loctite on this. Get the socket for that. Oh, here we go. Washer, short bolt. I'm going to tighten this up a little bit, but not all the way yet. I'll come all the way back around in a bit after we get the front done. So that's good enough for right there. Let's move to the front. Next, we will put the 4 bolts into the front. You might have to push and pry a little bit to get the hole to line up, but that's why we left everything loose. Make sure you put some Loctite on it. Now that we have the front 4 bolts loosely attached to the front and everything is in position, we're now going to raise the skid plate up and use these 2 flathead recessed Allen key bolts with a little bit of Loctite and screw it into where the original OEM skid plate was. Loctite. One, 2. So now just 2 little bolts on the front of the skid plate with a little bit of Loctite, and we're moving on. Now that the skid plate and the lower crash bars are in place, but only finger tight, because we still need a little bit of slack and a little bit of room to slide these plastic OEM guards into here. Don't forget about the tube, the drain tube at the bottom, reconnect that. And then using the OEM bolts, we connect it to the Outback Motortek bracket. And now we install the left side. Now that we have the lower crash bars and the skid plate installed and the plastics, the OEM plastics back on the bike, the last piece is the radiator guard. It's just 4 bolts and a little bit of Loctite. Not to mention that we should probably go back and tighten up every bolt that we've touched today. You know, it's just a good idea. You don't want things falling off your bike when you're on the trail. that would be bad. Just as a reminder, check out Outback Motortek's website. They make tons of accessories for the Norden 901, even more than I put on my bike today. I might go shopping later. We love Outback Motortek, so make sure you take a look at the website. They probably have your bike too. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Hit the like and subscribe and the notification bell and all of that. I'm gonna go ride, eat some dinner. See you next time.
Across the beautiful countryside.